Ladies and gentlemen, every single day, life is showing up and asking you a question. Are you ready? Not just physically, not just emotionally, but mentally. See, too many people are showing up in life with muscles in their arms, but weakness in their mindset. They're strong in the gym, but fragile in the mind, and I came to tell you today, you've got to take the time to train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Life is not kind to the untrained mind. It will drag you through disappointments, failures, and storms, and if you don't have a mind that's been prepared, fortified, trained, then you'll crumble under the weight of pressure, you'll fold under fear. You'll retreat when you were born to rise. That's why it's not optional. It's essential that you invest in your inner world more than your outer world. You train your body with repetition, right? You do push-ups, sit-ups, squats. Well, your mind needs push-ups too. Repetition of gratitude, repetition of truth, repetition of belief, repetition of faith. You don't read one book and call yourself a champion. You don't say one affirmation and call yourself mentally tough. No, this is daily work, constant mental conditioning. Most people spend hours scrolling and seconds thinking. They're feeding their mind junk food and expecting it to perform like a world-class athlete. That doesn't work. You've got to guard your mind like a vault, protect it, feed it the thoughts that lift you, surround it with voices that speak life, because life is already going to throw negativity your way. You don't need to add to the pile. Let me tell you something. Every champion, every success story, every giant's layer you admire, they trained their mind when no one was watching, when it was dark, when it was lonely. They whispered to themselves, I will not quit, I will not break, I will not lose myself. They didn't just hope for greatness, they trained for it, and training isn't glamorous, it's not loud, it's not viral, it's lonely, it's silent. It's what you do in the dark that prepares you for the spotlight. It's what you say to yourself when no one is cheering that builds a foundation unshakable by rejection or failure. Sometimes your greatest enemy is not your circumstances. It's the thoughts you tolerate, the conversations you replay, the stories you've told yourself for years that say, you're not enough, you can't, you never will. But today is the day you take the pen back and write a new script. One fueled by purpose, one driven by discipline. Your mind is programmable, and guess what? You're the programmer. You can uninstall the lies. You can upgrade the software. You can rewire the belief system that's been keeping you stuck. But you've got to take the time. No one will do it for you. If you don't train your mind to focus, it will drift into doubt. If you don't train your mind to believe, it will accept defeat. If you don't train your mind for victory, it will settle for survival. And you were not born to just survive. You were born to thrive. The question is, are you willing to do the work when it's not exciting? Are you willing to meditate when the world says medicate? Are you willing to speak life over yourself when the world is speaking death over your dreams? Because if you are, then no circumstance, no challenge, no loss, no failure can hold you down. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know how many battles you've fought. But I know this, a trained mind doesn't fold, it fires. It doesn't panic, it pivots. It doesn't shrink, it stands tall. So today, right now, make the commitment, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Start training. Start rewiring. Start speaking life, because your destiny isn't waiting for your conditions to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be prepared. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mind is a battlefield. Either you control it or it controls you. Every single day you wake up, you're stepping onto a mental battlefield, whether you realize it or not. And on this battlefield, your thoughts are either working for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. If you don't take command of what's going on up here, something else will. Fear, doubt, procrastination, distraction. They'll all move in like unwanted squatters, and they'll take over. That's why you've got to wake up and fight back. You've got to be intentional. You've got to be bold. You've got to train your mind like a warrior preparing for war. See, it's not the outside stuff that stops us. It's not the failures, the setbacks, the betrayals, or the critics. It's the conversation that happens in our own head after the blow has landed. It's not the hit that keeps us down. It's the decision we make in our minds after the hit. When you say, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe this is too hard, or maybe I should quit, that's the real enemy, that internal voice that tries to convince you that giving up is logical, that staying stuck is safe, that not trying is better than failing. But I came to tell you today, you can take that voice and silence it. You don't have to be at the mercy of old programming, old pain, or limiting beliefs. You can decide right now that you are the commander of your mind, that you are the one who gets to call the shots, and when you do that, something powerful happens. You stop living life by default, and you start living it by design. It's going to take work. It's going to take practice. But don't you dare tell me it's not possible. You trained yourself to believe in your fears. Now train yourself to believe in your future. You trained yourself to expect the worst. Now train yourself to imagine the best. You trained yourself to hesitate. Now train yourself to execute. It's all in your power. I remember a time when I was battling with my own self-doubt, waking up every day wondering, do I really have what it takes? That thought didn't come from the outside. It came from within, but I made a decision. I decided I would no longer live like a prisoner in my own head. I started feeding my mind with things that built me, not broke me. I started speaking affirmations even when I didn't believe them yet. I started visualizing the life I wanted, not the one I feared, and slowly but surely the tide turned, not because the world changed, but because my mind changed. You've got to condition your thinking like an athlete conditions their body. You wouldn't expect a bodybuilder to lift 500 pounds without years of training. So why are you expecting your mind to be strong if you've never trained it? Start small. 5 minutes of positive reading. 10 minutes of visualization, journaling your wins, catching yourself when that inner critic starts talking trash, and shutting it down. Day by day, thought by thought, you begin to reclaim the battlefield. And let me tell you this, once you take control of your mind, the world can't hold you back. Once you own your thoughts, circumstances lose their power. Once you decide who you are in your head, no one else gets to define you. You become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Because your mind becomes your ally instead of your adversary. So the next time fear shows up, don't run, stand your ground. When doubt whispers you can't, shout back, watch me. When the old thoughts try to creep in, remind yourself, I've trained for this, I've prepared for this, I was made for this. Because you are not a victim of your mind. You are its master, and the battlefield, that's your territory now. Walk onto it like you own it, because you do. Success isn't something that shows up just because you wish for it. It's not magic. It doesn't happen by accident. Success shows up when you show up. Success happens when you decide, truly decide, that you are willing to do the mental work required to transform who you are, and transformation starts with what you believe. Not what the world believes about you. Not what your friends or critics believe, what you believe. You've got to do the deep work of upgrading your mindset, because the life you want is locked inside the thinking you haven't yet cultivated. People walk around with goals that are bigger than their mindset. They want $1 million life with a minimum wage mindset. They want peace, but they've never taken time to train their thoughts out of chaos. They want to lead others, but they haven't yet learned to lead themselves. See, the real work isn't out there, it's in here, right here, in the quiet places where nobody's watching, when it's just you, your thoughts, yourself, doubt, and your decision. You can't rise above the level of your belief. If you don't believe you're worthy, you'll push success away. If you don't believe you're capable, you'll self-sabotage every time it gets close. If you don't believe there's more inside you, you'll settle for a life that's beneath you. And I'm telling you now, you don't have to settle, not now, not ever, but the key is this: you've got to train your belief system like a soldier trains for battle, with intention, with repetition, with commitment. Every time you say, "I can't," you're casting a vote for failure. Every time you say it's too hard, you're rehearsing weakness. Every time you shrink in the face of challenge, you're agreeing with fear. But when you stand up and say, "I will," when you speak life over your dreams, when you move forward in spite of fear, you're training your mind to trust you, and that trust becomes the foundation of power. Let me tell you something. Every great person you admire, every leader, every champion, every legend, had to do this work. They had to dig deep and rewire the way they saw themselves. They weren't born confident. They weren't born focused. They built it. They trained it. You see them now, but you didn't see the hours spent battling their own minds in silence. You didn't see the days they cried, doubted, wanted to quit, but didn't. That's what separates the average from the great, the decision to do the inner work when nobody claps for you. You can meditate, read, journal, pray, speak affirmations, but whatever method you choose, the mission is the same. Build a mind that can handle the life you say you want. If your vision is heavy, you need mental muscle to carry it. If your dreams are tall, you need a mindset strong enough to climb. And if your calling is deep, you need a belief system that can withstand pressure. You don't get that by accident. You get that by training every day. So today I challenge you, stop outsourcing your transformation. Stop blaming your job, your past, your parents, the economy, or the system. None of those things control your inner world. Only you do. Own it. Take responsibility for the way you think. Take responsibility for the way you show up. Because once you do, you'll realize that everything you need was already inside you. You just needed to unlock it. Don't wait until life gets easier. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Train your mind to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Train your thoughts to hold on to hope when circumstances say give up. Train your heart to believe even when your eyes can't see the way forward. That's how you grow. That's how you win. That's how you become the person you were always meant to be. You were born with the equipment. You were born with the capacity, but the discipline to unlock that power, that's your job. And when you make it your mission to train your mind daily, to upgrade your belief system and strengthen your thinking, you won't just chase greatness, you'll embody it. Every day you wake up, you've got a choice to make. Will you run your day, or will your day run you? Because let me tell you something, if you don't control your focus, something else will. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. You can have all the potential in the world, you can have talent, you can have ambition, but if your mind is scattered, if your attention is all over the place, your power is leaking through the cracks. You've got to take control of your mental environment and guard your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. This world is loud, it's noisy, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody wants your time, your energy, your attention. Notifications popping up, news feeds scrolling, people calling, emergencies rising. It never stops, but here's the truth. If you don't learn to say no to the noise, you'll never be able to say yes to your purpose. You've got to make a decision. What matters most? What deserves your energy? What moves the needle in your life, and what's just draining your spirit? Too many people are busy, but they're not productive. They're active, but they're not effective. They're working hard, but not working smart, running in circles and calling it progress. Let me tell you something. Activity is not achievement. Just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean you're moving forward. You need clarity. You need intention. You need to wake up every day with your priorities locked in, your distractions blocked out, and your mind locked on the target. If you've got a big dream, you can't afford to live distracted. You can't scroll your way into your destiny. You can't waste your power on things that don't grow you, don't challenge you, don't serve the life you're trying to build. That means you've got to make some hard choices. You've got to stop chasing every trend, every headline, every meaningless conversation. You've got to be willing to unplug from the noise and plug into your calling. You were not created to be average. You were not born to blend in with the crowd. You've got a specific gift, a unique assignment, a voice that's meant to be heard. But if you're constantly distracted, you'll never find your rhythm. You'll never tap into your flow. You'll never hear the whispers of wisdom that only come in stillness, because the most powerful breakthroughs don't shout. They whisper, and you can only hear them when your mind is still and your focus is clear. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to manage the hours you already have. Block time for your vision. Make appointments with your goals. Turn off the distractions and tune into your greatness. Because when you give your full focus to the right thing, even for a short time, you can do more in a week than most people do in a year. Focus is a force multiplier. It amplifies your impact. It increases your speed. It shortens your timeline, but only if you protect it like the treasure it is. Some of you are praying for a breakthrough, but God is waiting on you to get serious about your focus. You say you want it, but you're scrolling more than you're studying. You're complaining more than you're creating. You're reacting more than you're planning. You say you're hungry, but your actions say you're distracted. It's time to align your behavior with your beliefs. It's time to get locked in, zeroed in, and tuned in to your assignment. And let me be real with you. This isn't easy. Focus requires discipline. It requires saying no to comfort, no to convenience, no to the crowd. It means being misunderstood sometimes. It means being alone in the gym, alone in the studio, alone in your grind. But I promise you this, the cost of focus is always cheaper than the price of regret. Because regret will drain you for the rest of your life, but discipline only costs you in the moment. So choose wisely, be intentional, be fierce about your focus. Don't let life pull you in 1,000 directions. Set your sight on your goal, eliminate the noise, and go get what's yours. Because when you learn to focus, when you learn to direct all your energy toward what truly matters, there is nothing you cannot do. You cannot grow without discomfort. You cannot evolve by staying safe. Growth is not found in the convenience of comfort zones. It is found in the fires of adversity, in the pressure of challenge, in the weight of struggle. If you want to be more, do more, have more, and become more, you must learn to embrace the grind. You must get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where transformation lies. Too many people want the crown, but they don't want the cross. They want success without sacrifice, elevation without discipline, victory without valleys. But that's not how life works. If you want to be great, if you want to rise, you've got to be willing to stretch. You've got to be willing to push beyond what's familiar, to challenge your own limitations, to stare down your fears and keep moving forward. Growth requires pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. Champions are built under pressure, and your greatness will be revealed under pressure. You see, people often want to avoid the grind, they want to skip the struggle, they want shortcuts, but there are no shortcuts to destiny. You can't microwave greatness. You've got to bake it in the heat of discipline, time, and intention. That means waking up early when your body wants to sleep. That means showing up even when you feel like quitting. That means pushing through resistance and pain and fatigue, because your why is bigger than your weakness. And let me tell you something powerful. The grind doesn't just develop your skill, it develops your character. When you train in adversity, you become stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The process shapes your integrity. The pain makes you humble. The repetition makes you sharp. You become someone who can handle the weight of success. You become someone who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't break in the storm, who rises above the chaos, because you were forged in the fire, and once you've gone through the fire, you can handle the spotlight. Discomfort is the classroom where champions are made. Every rep you push out when your muscles are screaming, every hour you put in when no one's watching, every risk you take when you're scared out of your mind, that's growth. That's transformation. That's you evolving into who you were created to be. You can't skip that. You shouldn't skip that, because the process is the point. The grind is the gift. It prepares you for the blessing you're about to walk into. You've got to get to a place where you stop running from hard, stop resisting the stretch, stop fearing the discomfort, lean into it, own it, say to yourself, this is where I grow, this is where I get stronger, this is where I rise. Because the pain you feel today is producing the strength you need for tomorrow. The tears you cry today are watering the seeds of greatness that will bloom in your future. Don't resent the grind, respect it. Appreciate it, let it shape you. You want to be the best, then do what the best do. Train harder, think deeper, show up longer, sacrifice more. Because the ones who rise aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the most heart, the most grit, the most resilience. The ones who grind in silence and let their success speak loud, the ones who don't wait to feel motivated. They move with discipline, the ones who show up whether it's raining, snowing, or storming in their life. You've got something special in you, but it won't come out in comfort. It won't come out while you're chilling, while you're waiting, while you're scrolling your time away. It comes out when you put your head down and do the work. It comes out when you choose growth over ease, when you choose purpose over pleasure, when you choose the grind over the excuse. So don't be afraid to stretch, don't be afraid to sweat, don't be afraid to struggle. Because everything you're going through is growing you, and the more you embrace the grind, the more unstoppable you become. You were made for this. Keep showing up, keep pushing, keep stretching, because greatness is not given, it's earned in the grind. The environment you place yourself in has the power to either fuel your fire or suffocate your flame. If you want to go far in life, you've got to be intentional about what surrounds you. You can't grow in toxic soil. You can't fly with people who are content crawling. Your mind is like a garden. What you plant in it, what you water, what you expose it to, that determines what grows. And if you're serious about becoming the best version of yourself, you've got to train your mind by managing your environment with precision. You see, some people are dream killers, not because they mean to be, but because they don't believe in themselves. And they'll project that unbelief onto you. You tell them your vision, your goals, your dreams, and they'll hit you with all the reasons why it won't work, why it's too hard, why you're not enough. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing them. You'll start shrinking your vision to fit into their small minds. But hear me, you weren't meant to shrink. You weren't meant to dim your light just to make others comfortable. You were meant to shine, to rise, to grow, and to lead. You've got to get around people who stretch you, challenge you, inspire you, and call you to a higher standard. People who don't let you settle. People who look at you and say, you've got more in you. You need voices that speak life, not death. Encouragement, not doubt. Possibility, not limitation. Because every word you absorb becomes a seed in your mind. And your mind doesn't care if the seed is good or bad. It just grows what you feed it. That's why you have to guard your gates, guard your ears, guard your eyes, guard your heart. If you're always listening to negativity, watching chaos, consuming fear-based content, you're programming your mind for worry, for anxiety, for hopelessness. But if you feed your mind hope, feed it truth, feed it power, then you start to see possibilities where others see problems. You start to walk in confidence when others are shrinking in fear. That's what training your mind really looks like. It's being intentional every single day about what you allow in. Training your mind isn't just about reading books or listening to podcasts. It's about creating a culture within yourself where excellence is expected. Discipline is honored. Growth is celebrated. You don't wait for motivation. You create momentum by staying in an environment where greatness is normal, where dreaming big is encouraged, where rising above is the standard. And let me tell you something. Sometimes that means walking alone for a season. Sometimes you've got to separate to elevate. You've got to pull away from people who can't see your vision, not because you don't love them, but because you love yourself enough to protect your future. You've got to love your dream enough to fight for it, to isolate when necessary, to build in silence while the world watches in confusion, because soon your results will speak louder than their doubts. Your environment is not just physical, it's internal. What are you saying to yourself when you're alone? Are you speaking faith or fear? Are you encouraging yourself or tearing yourself down? You can't control every thought that pops into your head, but you can control which thoughts you meditate on, which thoughts you rehearse. You've got to talk to yourself like you matter, because you do. You've got to coach yourself like a champion. Remind yourself that you're not your past, you're not your pain, you're not your mistakes, your purpose, your power. You're a person with infinite potential. So if you want to train your mind, start with your surroundings. Start with the voices you listen to, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in. Start with what you feed your spirit, because what you feed will grow. Starve your distractions, feed your focus, get around winners, get around people who make you level up. Create an environment that reflects the future you're building, not the past you're leaving, because the moment you change your environment, you change your exposure. And what you're exposed to shapes what you believe is possible. When you see better, you think better.